Hey couples, it's Thursday, so that means it's Tune-Up Thursday, and that means we put out a video like this one to help you to take care of your marriage. Now, I was walking outside of our house. We live really close to Celebration Park, across the street, matter of fact, from Celebration Park. And I looked out there, and it was right after lunch, and so it was super, super hot. And I see this guy, and he's out at Celebration Park, and it's just him by himself, and he's kicking this soccer ball as far as he can kick it, and then he chases after it. He runs to it, and when he gets to it, he kicks it again and he runs after it. And I watched him for a couple of minutes, and I was just like, what a goofball. What is he doing? That just seems like A, it's like 1,000 degrees outside. B, it's just like you're just kicking a ball and running. And it just seemed so goofy to me. And then it was like right in that moment, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I do the same thing, except I call it golf, where I hit a ball, sometimes not very far, but then I go and chase it, and then I go hit it again. And here's the thing, what he was doing, he did it for free. I paid for my craziness. And it got me thinking about this whole idea of marriage and how we are quick to point things out in our spouses, and we sometimes miss the exact same thing in us. I can tell my spouse, well, you're so critical. Well, am I catching when I'm critical? Or you're impatient. Well, am I catching the times where I'm impatient? And I want to read you this passage. It's probably familiar to a lot of you. It may not be, but it's in Psalm 139. It's a prayer that David is praying, and here's how he closes it. He says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts." Verse 24, "See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting." So David is just saying, listen, God, I want to be exposed by you. Look in my heart. See if there's anything in there that doesn't belong. And if you see something, point that out and lead me in the way of the everlasting. In other words, guide me to the way that I need to be. And I think that's a huge thing that we need to do in marriage, is we need to be willing to let our spouses look inside. And more importantly, we need to look inside to say, hey, what's in here that doesn't need to be in here? What am I doing that doesn't need to be done? What am I ignoring that doesn't need to be ignored? Because again, we're so quick to point the finger, and it's super easy to see faults in others. But for some reason, and I know this is true of me, we get this blind spot when it comes to us, and we don't see it. We could be accusing our spouse of the very thing that we are guilty of too. And one of the ways the best ways is to kind of see this in your own life is to give your spouse permission to tell you, hey, I'm seeing this in our marriage, something that you're doing or maybe not doing enough, and I wish that it could change. Now that's a hard conversation to have, because you're getting super vulnerable with your spouse, and so you're saying, hey, listen, point out some things in me that you know aren't right or that you wish that were better. And I'm not talking about in all areas of life, but I'm talking specifically about your marriage. And so you're being very vulnerable, and what your instinct is going to want to be defensive and then to attack. Well, let me tell you, and that's not what this is about. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to better yourself. Because you've heard me say this over and over, the only thing that you can control is you. And a lot of marriages would get better if we quit saying, well, if my spouse would only, and we started saying, well, I need to. We need to take responsibility for our actions. We need to work on improving ourselves. And again, I am the worst when it comes to this, because I am quick to defend, and I'm quick to get my feelings hurt, but I have to get past that. We have to get past that so that our marriages can be better. And by the way, spouses, if your spouse asks you to have that conversation with them, please don't go nuts and just go on the attack and just tear them apart. But what's happening there is your spouse is entrusting their heart to you. And so what you need to do is you need to be gentle with that, and in a loving way, talk about the things that you want to be better in your marriage. And then here's what I would say. You ask the same question back. Take turns. Really listen. You might even want to write some things down, and then take what you hear, right? And then do something about it. Again, our marriages would be a lot better if we quit pointing fingers and start asking God, expose in me the things that I need to be different. And then giving your spouse permission to say, hey, if you see something that I need to be better at in our relationship, let me know. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video, and as always, please, please, please take care of your marriage.